guys. Thanks for tuning in today. I have a very special guest here with us, and I'm going to introduce her. This is Belle Briede. And for those of you who don't follow women's soccer, we are big soccer fans in this house. So she plays right now for the San Diego Wave. They are a new expansion team for the NWSL, or the National Women's Soccer League, here in San Diego. So for anyone who follows the U.S. women's national team, most of you guys probably know of them, at least, because they're like the World Cup champions a million times. But we have, Alex Morgan, Abby Dahlkemper. They are both on the San Diego Wave team. So it's a pretty exciting time here in San Diego for us soccer people. For those of you who don't know, obviously this is not triathlon related, but outside of triathlon, as you guys know, I'm a mom, and my oldest daughter, Bella, plays soccer, and she currently plays for San Diego Surf, which is a very well nationally ranked soccer club. And she has played soccer since 3, and club soccer since age 6 or 7. So from her, we learned what soccer was. I don't even know if Belle knows this, but I legitimately only knew that there was a ball and a net and you kicked it. I did not know about positions. I did not know that you what offside meant. That took me several years to figure that out. I knew nothing. But because my daughter, literally at the age of 3, begged us to put her in soccer, I don't even know where she, honestly, I have no idea even know where she got it from. We put her in little kickers, and that progressed over the years. Long story short, here we are. We moved to San Diego 2 years ago. Life is funny sometimes on how it brings people together. So we met Belle through a mutual friend, Nia Harrison, who is another amazing soccer player who played at Stanford with Belle. And Nia played for Surf before she was at Stanford, and that's how we knew her, because Bella was there. And she actually trained Bella for a little while as well. So that's how we got to meet this wonderful human sitting next to me. So I asked her to come on with us and share her story about soccer and being a woman in sport, because yes, I talk a lot about triathlon and running, but I am a big advocate for equal pay and equal playing time and all of the above. I'll have to show you sometime, Belle. We went to the World Cup in Lyon before COVID, and the sign we're holding is an equal pay sign. So next to Bella's "Happy Birthday, Alex" sign. So we were just very passionate about it. So this is fitting, even though it's not triathlon related. So thank you for coming. I'm going to stop talking, and I would just, tell our viewers, a little bit about yourself and your story and how you got into professional soccer.
First of all, thank you so much for having me. I'm honored, obviously, to coach Bella too. And yes, I am not a triathlon athlete.
Not yet.
Not yet. Exactly. Not yet. But yeah, so I grew up in Georgia. I have 3 sisters, and very similar to Bella. My parents just kind of threw me in whatever sport just to keep me busy, drain some energy so that they wouldn't have to deal with me later, and I would just fall asleep. And then I kind of just stuck with it growing up. I found to really enjoy it, great friends from it. And then I was like, okay, maybe I want to take this to the next level. So I decided to just work outside of trainings. I would go in the basement at 5 a.m. before school sometimes and do some workouts. So I took it very seriously. And then it wasn't until I got called up to my first U.S. youth national team that I was like, this is something I truly want to pursue in the future. Mm-hmm. So from there, I was like, oh, this is cool, meeting girls from all over the country. I was like, whoa, whoa. And all the camps were on the West Coast too. So I'm very familiar with California, coming from Georgia, since I've had a few camps in Chula Vista, actually.
Okay.
Not in San Diego, or it is, but not
Southern.
Too southern. But yeah, I didn't realize that I wanted to go play on the West Coast, until I was going into high school, I believe. Yeah, I wanted to play for a good school, and I definitely wanted to have an education as well. So I just started looking at a ton of different schools on the West Coast. at the time. So Stanford was one of them. Yeah. Stanford, Santa Clara, University of Southern Cal. But I just thought that when I went to visit Stanford, it was the right fit for me. Just the team, the environment, the coaching staff, the girls.
And it's a wonderful school.
Oh, yeah. Not to mention the academics.
I mean, it's Stanford.
Not to mention the academics. And then I verbally committed my sophomore year of high school, which is super early. And they've made major changes to that, by the way, but I have no regrets at all. Would not transfer, nothing. In college, I just loved my experience. Got to play with the best players in the world and country, and won 2 natty champs. So super exciting. So many memorable things coming out. But I honestly didn't know that I wanted to play professionally. I was kind of going to try and see where it led me, kind of figure out what I wanted to do with my life. But I was like, why, might as well. And so I literally a few days before the draft even happened, I put my name in and was just hoping and praying. And then once my name came up on the TV screen with San Diego Wave, I just was so ecstatic. Being back in California and just staying on the West Coast, I was like, this is such an amazing opportunity. And so here I am.
Here you are. We're so lucky.
I know. It's been a whirlwind of emotions. The transition's been a little different, just with balancing life and just nutrition and just everything. But honestly, I wouldn't trade it for anything.
And that, I don't know, those of you who don't follow soccer, like when she says she committed her sophomore year of high school, that's really early.
It's too early, but that also changed rules.
That also says something, I mean, for you on how talented you were at a young age, because she's right. Like that doesn't happen often. And they only really do that to players who they know are going to only get better as time goes on. So that's awesome. Congratulations. And I also know, because I do know a lot about soccer. Well, not as much as you, but about just like the culture. And I know that it sounds fun and glamorous, but I know that it's not all fun and glamorous either. What have been some of your major, like your biggest challenges so far in your journey?
Biggest challenges? Ooh. I would definitely say like the mental aspect of it. I would say going into college my freshman year, I struggled with playing time and knowing what my purpose and role was on the team. And so just kind of having that mentality and mindset of like, I need to just be the best version of myself, regardless of what my role is. And even if I'm playing 5 minutes or 10 minutes, and the same goes for this new transition period I'm in. It's what my role is and how I can be the best version of myself to help my teammates succeed and my team succeed. I would say that was probably the hardest challenge, is just staying positive when I don't want to be.
Has there been times in your career, and I'm sure there have been, where there's been coaches or other players even that have made you doubt your ability or your self-belief that you could keep being successful?
Oh, yeah. I've had a few, but one in particular that sticks out to me is when I was in middle school, I believe. I had this one coach who just stopped believing in me and stopped putting effort and energy and his time into me. And it was really sad, and my parents were disappointed because they saw a potential in me that I didn't know or realize that I had. And it wasn't until I moved clubs that this new coach really invested in me and made me believe in myself. And I think that was just super powerful, and that's what made me continue to love the game, because I was falling out of love with it.
That's a good transition. What do you think are some of the most important qualities in a good coach? And this can go across all sports, so I think this is an important thing, as a player.
I would definitely say some of the most important qualities would definitely be like investing in your player, not only as a player, but also as a person, as a human. Literally.
Yeah.
I had a meeting with our coach at the Wave, and it was just a genuine like catch up. And I was like, wow, this is like the first time that someone has actually asked like how I'm doing and like how my life is. And it was irrelevant to soccer.
Yeah.
And so I was like, this is something that I feel like all coaches need to understand, is that we are human beings and we have a life outside of soccer. And I think mental health is a big thing nowadays too. And so just checking in, but also like knowing the limits of players and pushing them to their best, because that's basically the only time that you'll see them develop and grow is by challenging them.
Absolutely. And that goes across all sports. You know, I told Belle I'd find a way to connect this triathlon. But it goes across, you know, as a triathlon coach, I'm not the fastest triathlete. I am not the most decorated triathlete. I'm not a professional triathlete, but I'm a certified coach in multiple realms. And, you know, my people skills, my ability to listen to people and connect with them, and then look at what they're doing, and then listen to what their goals and help develop what they need to do to move forward, I think can apply to both things as well. You mentioned mental health, and I won't dwell on it too long, but I think it's important, and people know this that watch this outside of triathlon. I also am a licensed clinical social worker. So I work in mental health, my big girl job. And, you know, there's been a lot of media on mental health in sport, not just soccer. There was in soccer recently, but you know, Simone Biles in the Olympics, and Michael Phelps in swimming, and, you know, and most recently, those that you may not follow, Belle, I'm sure knew her as well, but a Stanford goalie had taken her own life, and I know it was shocking and sad and awful, and she was an amazing player. And, you know, I don't want you to share any details about her, but I wanted to know if there's anything you would like to share just in terms of with the fans, with the coaches, with the young players that may be watching this, on what we can do to not be ashamed of, you know, those anxieties and those struggles that come up when you're involved in high level sport.
Yeah, no, I will definitely say that one thing that has helped me is having outlets outside of your sport. I think finding a great group of friends to just go out and grab dinner with, or lunch, or just go shopping, or just doing whatever that gets your mind off of the sport, because at times it can be a lot. I would also say that just having a good support system, talking to people constantly. If you're not doing well, I think we need to overcome the stereotype of like it being weak of showing feelings.
Absolutely.
And so I think that we can use social media as platforms as well, to just encourage people to talk about feelings, to talk about mental health in a more positive way.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. I'm going to switch gears a little bit. Training wise, because I know people want to know, how much would you say is important for especially these developing girls that are, you know, coming up through high school, and they're growing and they're going through puberty at all different ages as well. And, you know, in terms of physical commitment, the clubs all have different levels of amount of practice and times a week. I mean, what would be your recommendation to these girls or boys, whoever are watching, on what they should be putting in, you know, in terms of training and that sort of thing outside of practice?
Yeah, I would say that's a tough question, because I feel like at the developmental age, it's like also a time of getting burnt out. And so it's like you have to find the right balance, obviously. So I personally would think that it kind of comes down to the own individual and how much they want to put in and invest in their sport. I think as parents, as coaches, that we can only motivate each other, but it ultimately comes down to the person itself. But I would say, I mean, if you're really driven and this is something that you want to pursue, that you can do a little bit extra, whether it's like on off days you are taking extra time to recover, or if it's like getting to the field 10 minutes early before everyone and doing and working on something, or staying 10 minutes after. It doesn't have to be a lot, because a little can go a long way.
That's good to hear. So anybody's watching this, just know you don't have to be out there killing yourself 24 hours a day, I'm guessing. You know, I'm sure she did more than just her team practice. I have a feeling, but she just said she got up at 5 a.m. to do some virtual.
Sometimes
probably
I
not every day.
that.
Like,
Sometimes
I'd have to
regretted
throw
that.
things at Bella to get her up at 5 a.m. Nutrition wise, just real quick, like I'm sure you heard this from your family. You know, teenagers are hard to get to eat healthy food. How important is it for you guys in terms of, and I am big on balance, you know, for not only my athletes, but my family. I don't want people to have a poor body image or have a poor relationship with food. So I think it's really important to have balance. But at the same time, like, I mean, what would you give in terms of advice with, just nutrition and that sort of thing for young athletes?
Yeah, no, nutrition is super important. Protein is your best friend, mostly after practices. But even I struggle with nutrition all the time.
It was perfect.
Yeah, it's hard. It's sometimes hard. Like, I'm still figuring out my body and what it needs to sustain itself to perform at the highest level. But I mean, obviously having the balance, like you mentioned, is super important because it will help with recovery. It will help with like performance. And honestly, it just helps with energy overall. So I would definitely like talk to someone or just figure that out, because it literally makes or breaks your day or life. Because
do you guys have special like professional nutrition coaching over there?
Yeah, we do.
I would hope so.
Yeah.
I would think
so.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know. That's what they did. So what has been your, I don't know, the most surprising thing for you since moving over to the professional world?
Surprising. Ooh, I don't know. I've met a lot of really cool down-to-earth girls on the team, and I think that's the coolest part, is being able to play with Alex Morgan, Abby, and Jody.
They're real people.
Yeah, and they're just like, the team culture is amazing. So sweet. I mean, not that that's surprising. I mean, I think a lot of people think that some girls wouldn't be nice, but I think that overall they've been just amazing. And the coaching staff, hearing all the stories about other teams, I'm like, this is by far one of the best teams, and the culture and the environment with the coaching staff and everything. So
that's really good to hear from a San Diego person now.
I know. San Diego is becoming my home.
It's a good place to live. What about the differences? I mean, I don't know how much you guys interact or know about the men's soccer world, but what are the biggest challenges for you guys as a women's team when it, women's soccer versus men's soccer? Have you been able to see that yet?
Yeah, a little. I mean, honestly, I think the recognition and the broadcasting. I mean, thank gosh we have been blessed with a few live TV opportunities or streams opportunities. But I feel like it should be more.
Yes, it should. And I don't know how much of you guys watching American soccer is different from, when you over into Europe and it's football over there too. We went to a couple games in Germany when we were over there, and it was packed stadiums, floor to ceiling. And you come over here and it's like, where are the people? Yeah. But we're working on it. And I think San Diego, at least, I mean, we came to you guys as, we've been at every game so far that's been at home, and, the first game was sold out, and I think it's got a great culture there. I guess my kind of some final questions. I mean, what would be your biggest recommendations to girls, young athletes that are, maybe in clubs, like Bella, that are in soccer and want to play, and they're not quite at that high level yet. They're not getting written, commitments in sophomore year, but they love it. Like, what would you want to say to them?
I would say keep working hard and keep finding that passion, because that passion is what drives you, and it honestly will either make or break you sometimes. I would say that the best part about being in a sport is the connections and the relationships that you make with teammates, coaches, and just being able to explore different places and just bonding with your family. There's so many amazing things about being in a sport, and it just brings you such joy. But keep working hard, because there are so many life lessons that it's brought me, like leadership skills, how to work with other people. And so I would just say, just continue to learn to love it, even when it's not fun, even when it sucks, even when you have to do that extra conditioning run or sprint or whatever. But yeah.
One thing I posted the other day on social media was that, we hear a lot about being an athlete as a child and how it helps build. I mean, that's why we put our kids in sports, or at least encourage them to try different sports. And Madeline's tried every sport. But it was, it helps friendships, community, dedication, commitment. Once you commit to something, following through, obviously the physical health part of it, but that's not the only thing. And leadership skills, But I also want to say out there to anyone who be watching this is that, even someone like me, like I wasn't a child athlete, and yet as an adult, I became an athlete, and it's still been a huge part. It's like, a huge part of my life now. And I've gained the same thing from it, even as an adult: community, friendships, health, leadership skills and fitness. And like, it has given me that same, I mean, obviously I'm too old to go be a professional athlete now. Nobody's going to call me and give me an honor.
Triathlons though. Those are hard.
But but you still, whether you play at the same level as Belle or not, it's still, if you love it and you're passionate about it, it's worth it. So, I was going to ask you one more thing, and now I think it's lost my brain. Do you have? I was going to ask you favorite position. I know what you play now, but favorite. I mean, is it your favorite position? Your midfielder?
So funny. I actually grew up playing center forward.
Oh, you did?
I did, and then I grew up playing center forward, national team center forward. College was the first time that I played midfield, both defensive and offensive. But
that's different.
Very different. Very different. I like both, but obviously attacking mid is my favorite.
It's a hard position. Lots of back and forth.
Oh yeah, lots of running.
Lots of running. Very important. All right. Well, thank you for sharing. I guess, do you like San Diego so far?
I love it.
We were just talking about how
can't complain.
She wants it to be green, so we showed her the green around us.
Yeah.
I live in by the canyon, so it's pretty green over here.
Can't really complain.
No.
The weather's beautiful all the time.
Weather's great. Yeah, we're so happy to have you, and very blessed to have you in Bella's life, and thank you for being on.
Thank you.
I just want to remind you guys to please, I will tag in the comments the San Diego Wave website. Please, follow them on social media. Follow Belle on social media. Buy tickets. Their regular season tickets are on sale now, and they're getting ready to start in May. I believe. Yes, see, I was right. But there is a game. Their next game is this Saturday night here in San Diego, and they are playing. Which one are you playing this weekend? Remind me. Is it
Seattle Reign?
Oh, that's right. See, I was like,
OL
was it Angel
Reign.
City? No, it's OL Reign again. Oh, and they changed their name to OL.
I know.
It's so weird.
I keep saying Orlando Reign
I
all the
do
time,
too.
and I'm like, it's definitely not.
In case you guys don't know, OL is because it's the owners over in France, right?
I think so. I don't even know.
But OL literally has nothing to do with Seattle. It's so confusing. So, but yeah, so Saturday night, 7:00, we will be there. And so make sure that you guys tune in on the streaming on the TV if you cannot come. So and if you have questions for Belle or me, just leave them in the comments and I can pass them on and answer them. So thanks so much. Bye.
Thanks for having me.